Hey, this is Sim and this is Steve, and we're going to go right into, is Christianity just another mythology amongst other mythologies?
God believes in you!
I think it's a valid thing to look at. There's so many different religions and faiths and concepts out there. You know, why should I have faith in your mythology over this mythology? And I think when you start to dig into it, one of the things you'll find, looking at many of world religions, you'll find again and again pretty clear indicators of man making God in his image, writing down his understanding. And it's neat. You can kind of find that in Scripture. Job is a great one to look at, and you'll find man trying to understand God, and he's writing what he thinks, but then you see something a little further down that says, no, this is what God actually said, though. And you'll see Job and his compatriots messing up and misunderstanding what's happening and playing a blame game with God. And then later on, you see God coming and go, no, that's not what's happening. And so you start to see that this isn't mankind making God in his image. It's really mankind trying to struggle to understand a God that is so far outside of our conception. And so one of the things that makes it really different is you'll see it isn't a mythology using ourselves to explain God. Even though you'll see some of that in the Scripture, you'll see some different authors, different prophets trying to understand God and saying, this is what I think it means. And, and it's so hard to grasp. Ezekiel's a great one that talks about wheel within a wheel, and it talks about this vision he had, and he's trying to describe it, and it's like, here's what he's saying. It's way bigger than I can explain.
Right.
It was mind-boggling. It was just, there were wheels, and there were eyes, and there was stuff, and it was facing, and he's doing the best he can, but it's just so far beyond our comprehension, versus you look at like Greek gods and Roman gods, which are, basically just two different faces of the same gods, and you look at Hinduism, you look at some of these other ones where they bring in man's nature and create a god out of that. Like, this is what we think God's like. And so I think that's where, looking at the mythology question, one of the reasons that we keep coming back to Christianity and looking and digging into this stuff, and C.S. Lewis does a great job looking at this. It's very clear, it's authentic, and it's a revelation from God, not a man search for a God.
Right. And what I like about the Old Testament and the New Testament is that the Old Testament prophesies right in Genesis 3, I think it's verse 15, about how God said to the serpent, her seed is going to basically crush your seed. Right from there is the beginning of the messianic prophecies. And it's amazing that how many prophecies throughout the whole Old Testament. It's like a building up. It's like going to a movie and you see the coming trailer. Genesis is like, Genesis is the trailer. Well, actually we start out in Genesis, but Exodus is a trailer, Deuteronomy is a trailer, and all the way up to Malachi is the trailer of Jesus coming. And then the four Gospels, Matthew and Luke, use scripture from the Old Testament about, hey, this scripture happened for this to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what I like about Christianity, is that it isn't something that's made up, or, hey, you know what, one day I'm just going to talk about a Messiah, and then somebody else makes up another prophecy and another prophecy and another prophecy and another prophecy, and you know what? I think Jesus looked through the whole Old Testament, and just said, hey, I fulfilled this. I was born here in Bethlehem, and it's none of that nonsense. Literally, Jesus has at least fulfilled 100 messianic prophecies, even more. And so that's what I like about Christianity, and that's not a mythology. It is actually future predictions that have been fulfilled by Jesus, and that the four Gospels are eyewitness accounts of these messianic prophecies fulfilled. Not only that, you have a nation who was born from God, the Hebrew nation, Israel. Why would you as a nation base your origin off mythology? That's crazy. I mean, that's really crazy.
Well, and looking at the messianic stuff in the prophecies too, one of the things you'll see is the internal and external consistency, and you'll see through Scripture those things written, and there's statisticians that have looked at, if Jesus just fulfilled these ones that pretty much everybody accepts he fulfilled as a historical figure, just fulfilling those, which are well-documented ancient documents that were for hundreds and even over 1,000 years before Christ, these things were written, and Jesus matched up again and again and again, and the statistics on are just astronomical. It's basically in the concept of statistics, it's not only improbable, it's basically impossible that he could have fulfilled all those prophecies, which were written so long before. And that's where, you have an internal powerful testimony to the authenticity of the Bible when you see that this was said thousands of years before and then it happened.
Right.
You're like, wow. I mean, how in the world they do that? And that's a God thing.
Like Malachi. Malachi talks about John the Baptist, and they didn't hear from what they would say. They didn't hear from God for like 400 years. And all of a sudden, John the Baptist shows up and says, "Basically, I'm the one crying. I'm the one that's crying in the wilderness."
God is for you and me.
Join us tomorrow.
The just shall live by faith.
If you would like to have future updates on videos and events, like us on the Facebook page, and also we'd appreciate it if you subscribed to our YouTube channel. You have a great day.